The accidental arrival. The massive hall of the Galactic Council stretched wider than any Earth stadium. 1,000 species sat in perfect circles, their forms varying from crystalline beings to floating gas clouds. They had gathered for the most boring event in the universe, the annual budget meeting. Supreme Commander Zix stood at the center, his 4 arms moving as he spoke about trade routes. The other species listened quietly. Some were almost sleeping. After 10,000 years of peace, these meetings had become routine. Then it happened. A loud crack split the air. Blue lightning danced across the ceiling. The carefully maintained shields, which had protected this hall for centuries, began to ripple like water. "Security alert!" someone screamed. Guards rushed forward with plasma weapons. Ambassadors dove under their floating desks. The Valerian representatives' tentacles turned purple with fear. Everyone knew the truth. Nothing should be able to break through those shields. Nothing. The air tore open like paper. A hole appeared in reality itself. Through that impossible gap, a metal ship crashed onto the polished floor. It wasn't elegant like council vessels. It looked like a flying brick with engines taped to the back. Rust covered half its surface. A badly painted sign read, "Lucky Strike, we deliver anywhere." The ship's door opened with a squeak. Smoke poured out. Heavy footsteps echoed through the silent hall. A human stepped out. Captain Jake Miller stood there in his worn cargo uniform holding a cup of coffee. He was a middle-aged man with messy hair and stubble on his face. Oil stains covered his uniform. He looked around at the 1,000 alien species staring at him. Some had multiple eyes. Some had no eyes at all. All of them watched in complete shock. Jake took a sip of his coffee. "Well," he said calmly, "this isn't Mars." The silence lasted 50 more seconds. Then chaos exploded. "Impossible!" shouted the Krex warrior, standing 3 meters tall. "No primitive species can break our shields." "Contamination protocols," screamed a medical officer. "Unknown bacteria threat. It's an invasion." The Polarian ambassador's feathers stood straight up. "The humans have come to conquer us." Jake raised his hand. "Whoa, hold up. Conquer? Buddy, I'm just trying to deliver frozen pizzas to the Mars colony. My navigation system had a little hiccup." Supreme Commander Zix floated forward. His purple skin pulsed with confusion. In his 10 centuries of leadership, he had never seen anything like this. First contact protocols existed for a reason. Species spent generations preparing to meet the Galactic Council. They approached with careful diplomacy, bringing gifts and showing proper respect. This human had crashed through their ceiling and was drinking coffee. "You," Zix's voice shook, "you broke through shields that have stood for millennia. How?" Jake looked up at the hole in reality still sparking above them. "Oh, that? Yeah, my bad. We installed a new quantum drive last week. Downloaded the instructions from the internet. Maybe we skipped a few steps." "The internet?" Several aliens whispered in horror. "You built a quantum drive from internet instructions?" The chief scientist's 3 eyes went wide. "YouTube tutorial, actually," Jake admitted. "This Russian guy, Victor, makes great videos, though he does talk really fast." Behind Jake, 2 more humans emerged from the ship. Sarah Chen, the ship's engineer, carried a wrench and looked annoyed. "Jake, I told you not to push the red button." "You said probably don't push it," Jake corrected. "Same thing." Tom Rodriguez, their cargo handler, stepped out last. He looked at the aliens and waved. "Hey folks, nice place you got here. Very shiny." The council members watched these humans like they were observing dangerous predators. But the humans seemed relaxed. They weren't shooting. They weren't making demands. They were having a casual conversation about buttons. "You must be spies," Supreme Commander Zix declared, trying to regain control. "No species can accidentally discover faster than light travel. It takes centuries of advancement." "Accidentally?" Sarah laughed. "No, we meant to do FTL. We just didn't mean to end up here. There's a difference." "How long have humans been spacefaring?" asked the historian. Jake counted on his fingers. What year is it? 2157. So, about 60 years since we left Earth properly. The hall erupted again. 60 years? Most species took 600 years just to colonize their first moon. This is impossible, Zix said. You discovered quantum travel in 60 years? Discovered is a strong word, Jake said. More like stumbled into. We were actually trying to make a faster microwave. A microwave? Tom nodded. Really fast burritos. It's important for long space trips. The council stared. One ambassador fainted. Another started praying to their deity. Jake looked at his watch. So, can someone point us toward Mars? We've got frozen pizzas to deliver, and they're probably getting cold. Or warm. Space is weird. Supreme Commander Zix's eye twitched. These humans had changed everything, and they wanted directions. The galaxy would never be the same. The impossible species. The testing chamber hummed with alien technology, machines that could read DNA from across the room, scanners that saw through dimensions, devices that measured fear itself. Captain Jake Miller sat in the center, playing cards with his crew. Got any threes? Jake asked. Go fish, Sarah replied, not looking up from her hand. Around them, 50 of the galaxy's greatest scientists watched in growing horror. Their instruments were screaming. The readings made no sense. The data was impossible. Dr. Kellix, a serpentine being with 6 PhDs in xenobiology, slithered closer to his main screen. His scales had turned pale yellow, the color of pure confusion. Run the scan again, he hissed. We've run it 12 times, his assistant whispered. The results are the same. On the screen, a single line of text flashed red. Category 12, Death World Origin. Survival impossible. The Galactic Council had categories for planets. Category 1 meant paradise. Category 5 meant challenging. Category 8 meant certain death for most species. Earth was Category 12. The scale only went to 10. Supreme Commander Zix entered the chamber, his purple skin still pulsing from yesterday's shock. What have you found? Dr. Kellix's voice trembled. Commander, these humans, they shouldn't exist. Explain. The doctor pulled up Earth's data. Their planet has volcanic eruptions that can destroy continents, storms that can level cities, temperatures that swing from freezing to boiling, predators that hunt in packs, microscopic organisms that eat flesh. So they come from a hostile world, Zix said. We've seen that before. No. Kellix's 6 eyes focused on the humans. You don't understand. They don't just survive these things. They find them boring. As if to prove his point, Tom yawned. Show them Test 7, Zix commanded. The room darkened. Suddenly, the gravity increased to 3 times galactic standard. Most species would be crushed instantly. The humans didn't even notice. Jake just held his cards a bit higher. Your turn, Tom. The gravity increased to 5 times, then 7. Sarah finally looked up. Is it getting heavy in here? Or is it just me? Bit heavy, Jake agreed. Reminds me of that time we got stuck on Jupiter's moon. The scientists exchanged terrified looks. These humans were casually chatting in gravity that would liquefy most species. Test 12, Zix ordered, his voice cracking. The temperature dropped to -40. Ice formed on the walls. The human's breath became visible. Finally, Tom said. Proper air conditioning. I was getting warm. Dr. Kellix pulled Zix aside. Commander, there's more. Look at their neural patterns during danger. The screen showed brain scans. When exposed to threats, most species showed increasing panic responses. The humans showed something else. They're stress hormones, Kellix whispered. They don't cause fear. They cause focus. The more danger they face, the calmer their minds become. That's impossible. Watch this. Kellix triggered a battle simulation. Holographic enemies appeared. The Krex Empire's finest warriors. 10 feet tall, armor-plated, carrying plasma cannons. The aliens in the observation room stepped back in instinctive fear. Jake put down his cards. "Oh, cool. Is this like a video game?" The holograms attacked. Sarah grabbed her wrench. Tom picked up a chair. Jake just walked forward, studying the warriors' movements. "Their knee joints bend backwards," Jake observed calmly while dodging plasma fire. "That means they can't pivot quickly left." Sarah nodded, swinging her wrench at a hologram. "Classic design flaw. My roommate in college had the same problem." "Your roommate had backwards knees?" Tom asked, throwing his chair. "Long story. They defeated the simulation in 43 seconds. The galactic record was 6 minutes, held by the Kreks themselves." Commander Zix's assistant rushed in, tentacles flailing. "Sir, the mind readers request permission to scan the humans." The Psychic Council of Eternus were the galaxy's most feared telepaths. One look into a being's mind could drive them insane. Zix nodded. Perhaps this would finally break the humans' calm. 3 floating brains entered the chamber, glowing with psychic energy. They focused on Jake's mind. Then they screamed. Not Jake. The telepaths. "Chaos!" one shrieked. "Pure chaos!" "He's thinking about 17 things at once," another cried. "Pizza recipes, engine repairs, a song that won't stop repeating, something called a cat video." The lead telepath clutched his floating form. "He's now thinking about us, thinking about him, thinking about us. It's a mental loop. Make it stop." Jake looked concerned. "You guys okay? You look stressed. Want some coffee?" The telepaths fled. Dr. Kellix's scales had turned completely white. "Commander, I've found something else. They're historical records." "What about them?" "They fought wars against themselves, with nuclear weapons. For practice." "Practice for what?" "They say, just in case." "In case of what?" "They don't know. That's why they practice." The room fell silent. Every alien present felt the same creeping dread. These humans treated galactic nightmares like minor inconveniences. They found deadly gravity a bit heavy. They thought plasma warrior attacks were games. Then the lights flickered. Every screen in the chamber turned red. An ancient warning system activated, one that hadn't been triggered in 3,000 years. The archive's voice boomed through the station. It was the oldest AI in the galaxy, older than most civilizations. "Warning, pattern match confirmed. The calm ones have returned." Zix felt his heart stop. All 3 of them. "The calm ones? That's just a legend." "Negative. Historical record confirmed. Species designation, those who laugh at death. Protocol 0 activated." Jake looked up from his cards. "Protocol 0? That sounds important." Sarah shrugged. "Probably just another test." Tom nodded. "Want to bet on what it is?" As alarms blared and ancient it, and systems activated, the 3 humans went back to their card game. Every alien in the room had the same thought. What kind of species treats the end of the galaxy like a casual bet? They were about to find out. The galaxy's fear. The archive's central core was forbidden territory. No living being had entered it for 3 millennia. Now, Supreme Commander Zix stood before its ancient gates while the humans ate sandwiches behind him. "You brought snacks?" Zix asked, incredulous. "Road trip rule number 1, Jake said, offering him half a sandwich. Never face ancient mysteries on an empty stomach." The massive doors opened with a sound like dying stars. Inside, holographic records older than most galaxies flickered to life. The archive's voice echoed from everywhere and nowhere. 10 million years ago, they came. Images materialized. Ships that looked wrong, assembled from junk and held together by something the galaxy would later call duct tape. Beings that faced the heat death of suns with smiles. The calm ones, species designation, impossible. Sarah studied the images. "Hey, those ships look like garbage held together by hope," Tom finished. "Yeah, very familiar." The holograms showed more. The calm ones meeting the devourers. a race that consumed entire solar systems. Instead of fighting or fleeing, the calm ones did something unthinkable. They invited them to dinner. They fed the unfeedable, befriended the unbefriendable. They made the destroyer of worlds laugh. Zix's purple skin went pale. What happened to them? They grew bored, left for more interesting places. Their last message, going out for milk, be back eventually. Jake choked on his sandwich. That's exactly what my dad said 20 years ago. Before anyone could respond, explosions rocked the station. The walls buckled. Through the windows, hundreds of ships materialized, black as space itself, bristling with weapons that violated several laws of physics. The Dominion Empire had arrived. Their leader, Executor Krang, appeared on every screen. Where other lions had unique features, Krang had collected them all. 8 arms taken from conquered species, eyes he'd harvested from telepaths. He wore armor made from the bones of extinct races. I am here for the humans. His voice sounded like grinding metal. They will be my weapons, or they will be dust. Jake walked to the communication panel, still holding his sandwich. Hi there. Name's Jake. Quick question. Do you guys deliver? We're kind of stuck here and running low on pizza. Krang's collected eyes twitched. You dare mock the Dominion? Mock? No. I'm seriously asking about pizza. Wait, do you even know what pizza is? Oh man, you're missing out. Sarah leaned over. Jake, maybe don't antagonize the guy with the death fleet. I'm not antagonizing. I'm educating. There's a difference. Krang's image flickered with rage. You have 1 hour to surrender. Then I glass every world that harbors humans, starting with Earth. The transmission cut. Alarms screamed. The council members ran in circles. Some prayed. Some fainted. The Krek's warriors began sharpening weapons they knew wouldn't help. The humans exchanged looks. So, Tom said slowly, anyone else think this guy needs a hug? Definitely touch-starved, Sarah agreed. You see those bones he's wearing? That's a cry for attention. Zix grabbed Jake. The Dominion has never lost a war. They've destroyed 10,000 worlds. They eat fear itself. Eat fear? Jake looked interested. How's that work exactly? Is it like a sauce? A spread? I'm genuinely curious about the logistics here. Outside, Dominion ships began charging weapons. Energy readings went off every scale. The station's shields, already damaged from the humans' arrival, started failing. Then something unexpected happened. The Lucky Strike. That rusty cargo ship started broadcasting on all frequencies. But it wasn't a distress signal. It was music. Is that... Dr. Kellix listened. Is that never going to give you up? Tom grinned. Sarah's idea. If we're going out with style. The Dominion fleet paused. In their million-year history of conquest, no one had ever responded to their threats with ancient Earth music. Krang appeared again. What is this noise? It's called a rickroll, Jake explained. Traditional human greeting, very respectful. You lie. Would I lie about something this important? Sarah had disappeared during the conversation. She returned now, covered in grease, carrying something that looked like a coffee maker welded to a satellite dish. Jake, remember that thing we're absolutely not supposed to do? The thing that Victor specifically said would break reality? That thing. I thought we agreed that was Tuesday's problem. It's Tuesday somewhere. The Dominion weapons locked onto the station. Krang's voice boomed. Enough. Witness the price of defiance. Sarah pressed a button on her contraption. Nothing happened. Then everything happened. Every screen in the Dominion fleet started showing something impossible. Home videos. Not of humans. Of the Dominion soldiers themselves. As children. Before the Empire. Before the conquest. When they still knew how to laugh. Krang's bridge went silent. His stolen eyes widened as he watched a small version of himself playing with a creature that looked like a puppy but with tentacles. How? He whispered. Sarah shrugged. Quantum entanglement meets YouTube's recommendation algorithm. Every being leaves traces in the quantum field. We just found yours. Cute puppy, by the way. What happened to Mr. Wiggle? You know his name. The algorithm knows everything. It's honestly kind of creepy. Across the Dominion fleet, hardened soldiers watched their forgotten memories. Some started crying, a thing their species hadn't done in centuries. Others laughed, remembering jokes from before they learned to hate. But Krang wasn't done. With a roar that shattered screens, he cut the feed. Tricks won't save you. I am beyond sentiment. I am beyond... Jake's phone rang. Everyone stopped. The fate of the galaxy hung in balance, and Jake's phone was playing the theme from Jeopardy. Sorry, gotta take this, Jake answered. Hey, Grandma. Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle of something. What? No, just some guy with anger issues. Uh-huh. Sure. Put her on speaker. Jake held up his phone. A voice that had scolded generations of Miller children filled the command center. Young man, are you the one threatening my grandson? Krang, destroyer of worlds, conqueror of galaxies, hesitated. Who is this? This is Ethel Miller, and I asked you a question. Were you raised in a barn? You answer when adults speak to you. I am Executor Krang. I have lived for 3,000 years. And I'm 87 with arthritis. But you don't see me being rude about it. Now what's this about glassing planets? Do you know how hard it is to get good real estate these days? The entire bridge crew of the Dominion flagship was staring at their leader. He was being lectured by an elderly human via phone. Jake, Grandma Miller continued, is this boy bothering you? A little bit, Grandma. Does he need to come to Sunday dinner? He sounds like he needs a good meal and someone to talk to. Sarah whispered, Is she trying to adopt the destroyer of worlds? Tom whispered back, standard Grandma protocol. If it's angry, it's probably hungry. Krang's voice cracked. I don't need dinner. I need conquest. You need vegetables and a nap, Grandma Miller corrected. Jake, put me on with his mother. His mother's probably dead, Grandma. Then his father. Also dead. Guardian, mentor, favorite teacher. I killed them all, Krang roared. There was a pause. Oh, honey, Grandma Miller's voice went soft. Who hurt you? Those 3 words did what no weapon could. Krang, who had 8 arms and stolen eyes, who wore armor of bones, who commanded a fleet that darkened stars, started crying. Not just tears. Ugly crying. The kind that comes with snot and hiccups. His entire bridge crew didn't know where to look. Some started crying too. It was contagious. Jake looked at the council members, all frozen in shock. So, anyone got tissues? This seems like a tissue situation. The ancient archive's voice returned, somehow sounding amused. Confirmed. The Calm One's greatest weapon. Which is? Zix asked. Aggressive empathy. As the Dominion Empire's most feared executor cried about his childhood trauma to a human grandmother, while his fleet of 10,000 ships waited awkwardly, the galaxy learned something important. Humans didn't conquer through force. They conquered by making everyone realize they needed therapy, and possibly a sandwich. Humanity's gift. The Galactic Council's emergency summit had been called 47 times in history. Each time meant the galaxy stood at the edge of extinction. This was the first time it had been called because someone's grandmother had made a tyrannical executor join a book club. She did what? Supreme Commander Zix stared at the report. Jake shrugged. Grandma Miller doesn't do things halfway. Krang's apparently really into romance novels now. Says they help him process his emotions. Through the windows they could see the Dominion fleet. Instead of weapons charging, their ships were arranged in what looked like a heart shape. That's actually sweet, Sarah said, welding something that definitely wasn't supposed to exist according to physics. It's terrifying, corrected Dr. Kellix. Do you understand what you've done? The Dominion Empire hasn't felt emotions in 1,000 years. Now they're all crying and hugging. Their entire military doctrine is ruined. Tom looked up from his sandwich. Sounds like an improvement to me. Before anyone could respond, space itself began to tear. Not one rift, not 10, hundreds. Ships poured through. But these weren't military vessels. They were cargo ships, cruise liners, private yachts, and what looked suspiciously like a food truck with rockets attached. More humans had arrived. "Oh no," Jake muttered. "What?" Zix demanded. "What's oh no?" The first ship's door opened. A man in a Hawaiian shirt and flip-flops stepped out into the vacuum of space. He was holding a barbecue grill. He shouldn't have survived. Space doesn't allow barbecue grills, or breathing, or Hawaiian shirts. But apparently no one had told him that. "Jake," the man shouted across the void. "You said you found aliens. Where's the party?" "That's my cousin Dave," Jake explained weakly. "He doesn't really understand physics. How is he breathing in space?" He probably forgot he couldn't. Dave wasn't alone. The food truck opened and a full mariachi band emerged, playing in the vacuum. A cruise liner discharged what looked like an entire convention of comic book fans. Someone had brought a bounce house. The ancient archive systems were screaming, "Impossible, impossible, impossible." "Yeah," Sarah said, still welding. "Humans do that a lot. We call it holding our breath really good." But the real chaos started when the children arrived. 50 human kids on a school field trip that had taken a wrong turn through a wormhole ran into the council chambers. They saw the aliens and did what human children do. They wanted to be friends. "Can I touch your tentacles?" one child asked the Valerian ambassador. "Your eyes are so pretty," another told a crystalline being whose structure literally couldn't process compliments. One small girl walked up to Executor Krang, who still had tears in his 8 eyes. She handed him a juice box. "My mom says juice helps when you're sad." The Destroyer of Worlds looked at the juice box. It had a cartoon puppy on it. His tentacle hands shook as he tried to open the tiny straw. "Here," the girl said, helping him. "It's tricky." Every alien in the chamber watched the most feared being in the galaxy sip apple juice with a bendy straw. "This is," Krang said quietly, "actually quite refreshing." Commander Zix felt his sanity slipping. "How is any of this possible? You're breaking every law of physics, biology, and basic reality." Jake's phone rang again. This time it was video call. A man in a lab coat appeared, surrounded by what looked like duct tape and parts from a microwave. "Jake, did the wormhole work?" "Dr. Peterson?" "Listen, small problem. We might have accidentally connected Earth to everywhere. Like everywhere, everywhere. People are just walking through wormholes to get coffee now. Mrs. Chen went through one to visit her son in Andromeda. Is that bad?" The archive's voice boomed. "Scanning." "Oh no." "What?" everyone asked at once. "Earth's internet has merged with the galactic network. Every screen in the galaxy simultaneously displayed the same thing. Would you like to accept cookies?" Then the meme started. Every communication device, on every world, in every empire began showing human memes. Cat videos, rickrolls. Someone had already made a gif of Krang sipping juice. The Psychic Council, who had tried to read human minds, were now uncontrollably sharing TikTok dances telepathically. "We need to stop this," Zix shouted. "Stop what?" Sarah asked, finally revealing her welding project. It was a giant disco ball made from salvaged shield generators. "We're just sharing." "Sharing what?" "Joy," Tom said simply. "You guys had faster-than-light travel, planet-destroying weapons, and telepathy. But no one had fun." Dave had somehow set up his barbecue grill in the vacuum of space and was grilling burgers. The smell impossibly drifted through the void. Dominion soldiers were abandoning their posts to get in line. "Is that beef?" Krang asked, still holding his juice box. "Nah, it's Impossible Burger. Gotta think about the environment, even in space," Dave replied, flipping patties. "Want cheese on yours?" The ancient archive made a sound that could only be described as a sigh. The calm ones were right. "About what?" Zix asked, exhausted. They left a message, hidden in quantum code. Would you like to hear it? Everyone nodded. A hologram appeared. It looked human, but older, ancient. It smiled with infinite patience. Hey, future folks, if you're seeing this, our cousins finally made it to space. About time. We left Earth to seed humanity across dimensions, but we left one branch behind, the special branch, the ones who would remember how to laugh, how to cry, how to turn enemies into friends with aggressive kindness and confusing logic. They're probably breaking your reality right now. That's normal. Let them. Reality was too rigid anyway. P.S. Try their pizza. It's worth the existential crisis. The message ended. Jake looked around the chamber. Aliens were trying human food. Children were teaching ancient beings playground games. Krang was on his third juice box, discussing his feelings with Grandma Miller via hologram. The mariachi band had somehow gotten the crystalline beings to dance. So, Jake said to Commander Zix, want to see what else we brought? What else could you possibly? Sarah pulled out a small device. Universal Wi-Fi router, free internet for everyone, every planet, every species, forever. But the chaos. Yeah, Tom grinned. Isn't it beautiful? The galaxy's most powerful beings watched as their ordered, logical civilization crumbled, and in its place, something new grew, something chaotic and impossible and absolutely ridiculous. Something human. Dr. Kellix slithered over to Jake. I have to ask, was this planned? Did humanity mean to conquer the galaxy with memes and barbecue? Jake laughed. Nah, we just wanted friends. Turns out, everyone in the universe was lonely. They just needed someone dumb enough to ignore the rules and say, hey, want to hang out? The ancient archive displayed one final message. Protocol 0 complete. Results. Galaxy infected with hope. Is that bad? Sarah asked. Unknown, but it is certainly interesting. As the disco ball Sarah built began to spin, turning the entire council chamber into the galaxy's first interspecies dance party, one truth became clear. Humanity hadn't conquered the galaxy. They'd adopted it. And like any good adoption, it came with chaos, laughter, and the absolute certainty that nothing would ever be boring again. In the corner, Executor Krang was video calling Grandma Miller, learning how to knit. His first project? A scarf for Mr. Wiggle, who apparently was still alive on his home planet. You know, Zix said to Jake, watching the impossible scene, I'm not sure if humanity saved us or doomed us. Jake handed him a burger. Does it matter? At least we'll have fun finding out. The Supreme Commander of the Galactic Council, leader of 10,000 worlds, took a bite of his first burger. This is, he said with wonder, actually incredible. Wait till you try pizza, Tom said. And somewhere in the quantum field, the calm ones watched and smiled. Their cousins had done it. They'd turned the cold, logical galaxy into something better. A family. A weird, chaotic, impossible family. But family nonetheless.